What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I have 3 envelopes that I'm going to share with you that have 3 postmarks from Kansas City. I did change things up a little bit this time, as normally I do not write players during the regular season, and I usually focus on retired players. Well, this time I decided to write a couple active players, members of the Kansas City Royals. I also decided to send to one of the Kansas City Royals coaches who is a former player. So this is kind of a unique mix of a Through the Mail Thursday with not just a retired player, but also a couple active players. So if you guys currently are interested in writing these gentlemen, I all sent them care of the Kansas City Royals. So if you like what you see, definitely consider sending these care of the Royals, and you might get a return yourself. So the first one I'm going to share with you is signed 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 of Brad Keller on the bottom there. Brad Keller is a young pitcher on the Royals pitching staff. He came up last season. As you can see, he shares a card with Heath Filmeyer. I may consider sticking one of these in the mail to Heath, see if he signs as well. Care of his team. Heath has been up and down with AAA and in the majors, so not sure I'm going to send that yet. But we'll talk a little bit about Brad Keller. Keller was originally drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 8th round in 2013. He moved up the Diamondback system at 17 years old. He started out in rookie ball, then worked his way up all the way till it appears to Double-A with the Diamondbacks, and then in the off season, between seasons, he was selected between the 2017 and 2018 season. He was selected by the Cincinnati Reds in the Rule 5 draft. Then he was traded from the Reds with that Rule 5 selection to the Royals. So what that means is it was required for him to stay on the Major League roster for a certain amount of time, otherwise the Royals or the Reds would lose the rights to said player. So that's in a nutshell what the Rule 5 draft is. So Keller is a very young pitcher. He is only 23 years old, up in the major leagues. So he has a bright future ahead of him in Kansas City and beyond, perhaps. So thank you very much, Mr. Keller, for signing 3 of 3, care of the Royals. All right, so this next one is also postmarked from Kansas City. And this is actually 2 of 2 from his teammate, Danny Duffy, on 1 and 2. Same heritage set. I actually wound up buying that team set, the Royals heritage team set, and I actually had that minor league heritage card of him laying around in my collection, so I decided to stick them both in the envelope, and he graciously signed within a couple weeks. So Danny Duffy was a 3rd round pick of the Royals back in 2007. He was moved up their system. I actually saw him when he was a 19-year-old kid playing for the Burlington Bees way back in 2008. I was able to get him in person when he was a minor leaguer. He moved up the Royal system rather rapidly. By 2011, at the age of 22 years old, he was in the majors. He's had, a few ups and downs in his career. He's had some good seasons, and he's had some somewhat mediocre seasons thus far. His best season to date was in 2016, when he went 12-3 with a 3.51 ERA. Very good, solid year right there. The Royals won the World Series the previous year in 2015. However, in 2016 was his best season, ironically. So he is still currently pitching on the Royals as of shooting this video. Don't know what his future is going to be. I think maybe his contract may be coming up soon. I may be wrong, so don't chew me up in the comments too much if I am incorrect there. But we'll see if he's going to be with the Royals long term, beyond 2019, or if so we'll see, if he moves on to another team or if he stays, with the team that originally drafted him and stays in Kansas City beyond this season. So thank you, Mr. Duffy. I appreciate the 2 that you signed. All right, this final one, also postmarked from Kansas City, is from former Milwaukee Brewer Dale Sveum on 1, 2, and 3. Dale Sveum is currently on the Kansas City Royals coaching staff at the Major League level. He's been with them, I think, a couple seasons now under Ned Yost. Him and Ned obviously would have been teammates back in their playing days. So I think under Ned's administration, Sveum has thrived. Sveum also is a former manager. He did manage the, I believe, the Milwaukee Brewers, the team that drafted him, for a few seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he also managed the Brewers for 1 season, and he managed the Cubs for 2 seasons in 2012 and 2013. He was also on the Brewers coaching staff after he was the manager, and he was let go from the Cubs after the 2013 season and has been on the Royals coaching staff ever since. He has won 2 World Series championships, one with the Boston Red Sox as a coach, and one also as a Kansas City Royal. Originally drafted with the number 1 pick of the Milwaukee Brewers in 1982. Swain spent some time in the minor leagues, working his way through their system, until 1986, when he made his Major League debut. He appeared in 91 games as a rookie, batted .246, and hit 7 home runs. The following year, however, would be a breakout year for Dale, as he batted .252 and hit 25 home runs and drove in 95 RBIs. And this is pretty good, coming from a shortstop and third baseman. He also played some first base, but this was also the Milwaukee Brewers team that featured the great Paul Molitor and also the great Robin Yount. So he had some pretty good hitters hitting around him those years for sure. And he actually had a great year, 25 home runs. He never would come close to 25 again, but he did hit 12 in 1997 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, in total, he played for 7 teams. He spent 5 years with the Milwaukee Brewers, 3 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 1 year with the Phillies, 1 year with Oakland, 1 year with the Yankees, 1 year with Seattle, and 1 with the White Sox. So, in closing, this is a lifetime baseball guy. This is one of those guys that I talked about that, became a player, became a manager, still is a coach to this day, and all he knows is baseball. Talk about a great career. So, in closing, thank you, Mr. Swain. Thank you, Mr. Duffy. And thank you, Mr. Keller, for all signing care of the Kansas City Royals. If anybody that's watching wants to write these players, they all currently care of the Kansas City Royals team address. So, thanks for joining me for another episode of Through the Mail Thursdays. We got a mix of current players and retired players in this video. So, thanks again for viewing, and happy collecting to all.